This is the OG iPad mini I got about 4-5 years ago for the kids. Of course, with all the protection it came with, they still managed to have broken the screen twice. I've replaced the screen twice. The power button, it responds when it wants to, but it's stuck with iOS 9. A lot of apps have moved on to higher version of iOS. One of the good things about this, the battery is so strong, I'm going to use the battery to create a power bank. And this will be in two forms right after this. Welcome back to Smart Depot, and we're talking about our iPad mini that we want to use the battery. The best thing about this thing, even over the years, is that the battery is solid. And then I want to use the battery for a power bank that could power some of the stuff that the children use to learn and their lights and all that. And probably I'll get them a newer version of iPad or iPad mini, later in the year. So let's go check out this. It's going to be fun. The first part is to dismantle the iPad. Take out its battery and use it to construct a functional power bank. Here is the OG iPad mini, the power bank circuit board. You can buy different types and sizes from $2 up. I'll put the link in the description if you want to buy it or try out a similar project. And then there are wires and pry tools, heater, soldering iron, some of the tools we're going to use for this experiment. The main reason I'm doing this surgery is my admiration for the battery life of this iPad mini. And there's also a mixed feeling because there's also frustration in trying to use it now because it's kind of broken. The power button has a mind of its own and may decide not to work half the day. The major parts of the touch screen no longer respond, so sometimes I have to flip the screen upside down to touch some area, and still frustrating. The edges of the screen are dead and I don't want to change the screen for the third time. So hence the surgical experiment. It was a miracle to get the power button to power down the phone, and when we were able to get the power button to work, the touch screen won't let us swipe to turn off. Turning the orientation of the screen, I was able to swipe to power down. This felt like a great victory. So let's tear this thing apart. I'll still try to use the heater to soften the adhesive that holds the touch screen, out of respect. Nothing stops me from breaking it into pieces as it's already faulty and I don't intend to use it again. With heat applied, I was able to put in the pry tool and gently remove the touch screen. After removing the touch screen, the main screen is held down by 4 screws. We will unscrew them and gently bring it out from the chassis. Then I will have to lose about another 16 screws, of the flat metal covering the battery and the flex connection point. The strong magnet on the lower side, kept unstealing my tiny screw. That was fun. I'll still have to lose 3 more screws to open the metal casing protecting the screen and the battery connectors. Once that is done, I will gently disconnect and remove the screen and the battery connectors from the motherboard. And also remove the touch screen, and with this now we are ready for the battery removal. The battery was strongly glued, no pull tab. I wasn't expecting any though. I have to be very, very careful with the battery because any force or puncture could damage it, and that will ultimately defeat the goal of this experiment. I applied a little alcohol, to soften the glue, and it did help. I gently pulled out the battery, and now is the time to enter into the sweet part, building the power bank. Battery used in phones and tablets have their own IC controllers, but in this experiment I will remove the Apple's IC controller that is inside this battery, and then I will allow the circuit of the power bank that I bought to do the battery charging controlling, and that will also help me know how good these circuits are in terms of battery charging and management and control. The iPad mini protection inside could have been better, but if I do that, I will probably not test how good these cheap circuit boards for power bank could be. Now is the time to connect the battery cell to the power bank circuit board. Now is a good time also to remind you that the power bank circuits can be purchased from the links in the video description. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, a sub will weld us together in this journey of creating things. Once the soldering is done, it will be time for me to test whether the power bank works. I'm curious. Let me connect my phone and see. The power bank has two outputs, 1 amp and 2 amp, and from the connection to the phone I can see that it actually delivered the 1 amp. So yeah, it worked. Now let's test the charging. That works too. It charges. I was able to charge it up from about 49% to 100%, and it worked well. Well, my LED lights now have a new power source because it's not yet in the case, I'll put it on the glass, which is not a conductor, and it will be there powering some of my LED lights that I use for my video content creation. I'm thinking of getting a colorless, case for it, but that will be in the part 2. So you see, this is the part 1. So the part 2 is where I'm going to find the proper casing for this power bank. So make sure you follow, you like, you share, you subscribe. And until I see you in that one, it's peace. Subscribe. I'll see you. Let it go, make my body go, make our bodies high.